A while back, my dad sent me a quote by a baseball player named Lou Vickery. He said this: "Four short words sum up what has lifted most successful individuals above the crowd. A little bit more. They did all that was expected of them and a little bit more. That's it. Not brilliance, not talent, not luck, just a little bit more." Those four words took me back to a college class that I was struggling through. You know, the class where every exam feels like a mountain and you're just hoping to survive. Halfway through the semester, our professor said something I'll never forget. He said, "Do you know the difference between making a C and making a D? 10%. Then he broke it down. There were 16 weeks in a semester. 10% of 16 weeks is about 1.6 weeks. Each week we spent about 3 hours in class, and the expectation was that we spent 3 hours studying for every hour in the classroom. So 12 hours total for the whole week. Multiplying that week by a week and a half, and the difference between a passing with a C that you needed to pass the course with and failing with a D was roughly 19 hours. That's it. Not another semester's worth of intelligence, not a different major or a different professor, just 19 hours spread across 16 weeks. Then he said something that made everyone sit a little straighter. You can either find those 19 hours now, or you can spend another 16 weeks retaking the entire course. That perspective changed, for me, how I approached the course. Because suddenly, success didn't feel impossible anymore. It was measurable and manageable. It wasn't about becoming a different person overnight. It was about doing what was required, and a little bit more. I've noticed something since then. We tend to think excellence requires these massive, heroic efforts. We imagine successful people waking up at 3:30 in the morning, never getting tired, never wasting a minute, operating at some superhuman level the rest of us just can't reach. But most of the time, that's not the difference. The difference is surprisingly small. An extra chapter read once a week, an extra workout, 10 more minutes preparing for tomorrow, one more phone call, one more note, one more difficult conversation, one more rep, one more draft, one more attempt. Those tiny investments don't look impressive on a single day, but compound them over weeks, months, or years, and suddenly they're life-changing. Think about your own life. If I told you that becoming better at your job only required an extra hour each week learning your craft, would you do it? If I told you your marriage or friendships could become stronger by spending 10 uninterrupted minutes each day being fully present, would you make the time? If I told you learning a language only required 20 minutes a day, would that seem impossible? Probably not. Because when you break greatness into small, consistent pieces, it becomes accessible. The problem isn't usually the size of the effort, it's the consistency. Most people wait until finals week. They cram, they panic, they try to spend 19 hours in one weekend figuring out what they missed. But excellence rarely comes from intensity. Instead, it comes from consistency. 5 extra minutes today, 10 tomorrow, 20 next week. Small changes, small choices, repeated long enough, become extraordinary results. So this week, I want to challenge you with this. Don't overhaul your life. Don't create some impossible schedule that you'll abandon by Wednesday. Just ask yourself one simple question. Where can I do a little bit more? Maybe you read one extra page. Maybe you arrive at work 10 minutes early to encourage a coworker. Maybe you text someone you haven't talked to in a while. Maybe you practice your instrument of choice for 5 more minutes today. Maybe you take a short walk instead of scrolling on your phone. None of those things are dramatic by themselves, but that's the point. Success usually isn't built on dramatic moments. It's built on ordinary moments repeated consistently. Because the gap between average and exceptional is often much smaller than we imagine. It's just that exceptional people choose to cross that gap every day. So remember those 4 simple words that my dad sent me. A little bit more. Do what's expected of you, then give one small effort beyond that. Because sometimes the distance between where you are and where you want to be is only about 19 hours spread across an entire semester. And that's a challenge almost all of us are capable of meeting.